Hello. This is a slight, long story short, I wanted to write a post about Netrunner and the stealth aspect that's going to be coming up in the next pack. It is currently out, I believe, so this has no spoilers in it, but we are going to be talking about the escalation pack, so if you've not opened it, please stop reading now, or watching that one. So, this is the new card that come out, and people have been talking about the power of this card, and I'm pretty much 100% behind it. I've done a few experimentation with Netmerker. Uh, I don't play with Smoke since Smoke is not out yet. She's going to be in the next pack, which is a identity that's been revealed. Smokes is basically a runner ID that has stealth credits already attached to it. Netmerker here in the stealth deck is going to be opening a lot of doors. There's been a few. I want to say, let me adjust this real quick. Yeah, that's fine. So there's been a few talk about this card and some of the stealth that's been popping up, and the new cycle has been really going on it. So this says the first time you spend at least 1 credit from a stealth card each run, place 1 credit on Netmerker or draw 1 card. Use credits on Netmerker for anything, and it is a virtual stealth, so therefore it can power itself, as in you run a server, there is Bioethics Association, a 2 trash asset, you take 1 credit off Netmerker, you've spent a credit, you're using the credit on Netmerker to trash Bioethics, and since it is a stealth card, you get that credit back. Or you can draw a card because it's Bioethics, and you're probably going to be taking net damage. So, there's 2 things that really work with this. One is the credits can be used for any situation. They don't have to be used for specifically stealth cards. For example, if you run a server and you have Corroder installed, or Inti, or whatever, Paperclip, and you spend the 1 credit to break a wraparound, you can spend it on Netmerker to gain the credit back. Now, there's a few parts. Now, if you just use Netmerker for just basically bad publicity, you should probably be just running Corporate Scandal, which is a current that says gain a bad publicity, and therefore you can use these credits on anything. So, we need to abuse the fact that this is a stealth card, because if you look at certain ice, let's say Gordian Blade. Gordian Blade is 1 to buff, 1 to break, pretty straightforward. But then we look at Refractor, let me pull that up real quick. Refractor, and for 1 stealth credit, you buff it by 3. So we boil down the question is how much is a stealth credit worth? Hollis was talking about this, and if a stealth credit is worth 3 credits in terms of buffing and breaking, then this card becomes insurmountably better. You know, to have a bad publicity of stealth out of it. Going back to it, so the question is how do we use Netmerker to its full potential? Well, the classic example is the fact that if you use a stealth rig, and you run servers, and you go, that's a Lotus field, I'm going to buff Refractor, and then break it, you could be using Cloak or Lockpick. And so let's just use Cloak, for example. Well, it's a 1 reoccurring credit, it's a stealth credit, so if you use it, you pretty much bank the Cloak credit on Netmerker. You spend the Cloak credit, you get a credit on Netmerker, you can use Netmerker credit later or right then. So, it's a way for you to stack up your stealth, much like Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner is a resource, has 3 credits, used during a run, stealth credits. Cool. Continue. Now, the second question is, what if they just don't have anything rezzed? How do we use this? Well, interestingly enough, you are allowed to buff ice breakers outside of encountering an ice. For example, if you just run an empty server, let's say Archives, you can use the Cloak credit to buff Refractor. This is good, Runner. You can use the Stealth credit to buff Refractor, and therefore put a stealth credit on Netmarker. Now, what does this do? Because if we're just moving credits around, like you're spending the credit on nothing to get a credit. So, A, you're banking the cloak credits. So, cloak is replenishing every turn, and you're using that replenishment to stick it on Netmarker for later. So, you now have a gigantic pile of stealth credits on Netmarker. What do you use it for? Well, there's different variations of the stealth decks. Some people like Dagger. I have one in my current build. But 1 stealth credit plus 5 strength, break a sentry subroutine. Pretty solid. Can't go wrong. Now, I personally run Switchblade. 2 influence, 3 cost, 1 stealth credit, 7 strength, 1 stealth credit, break any number of sentries subroutines. Now, the old classic style that would run Switchblade has to run Silencer, which is this card right here. Hardware, it's a stealth and paid for using killers. This is basically the only thing that really powered Switchblade back in the day. But it is 3 influence, so a deck that runs 2 of them, that's 6 influence, kind of a pain. My current build has had no problems with stacked sentries simply because Netmarker can bank so many on it. And you still have Cloak to power it. For example, let's say I have 1 stealth credit on Netmarker, period. You run a server, you go, I spend a Cloak credit, a credit goes on Netmarker, I break the sentry subroutine. I go again, spend the credit on Netmarker, Netmarker gains stealth credit, use both of them to use Silencer to break. Now, I run backup breakers of each one, so I have both Switchblade and Dagger, depending on what I need to do. Some people go, this uses too many stealth credits, where Dagger can use real credits. I personally think that I have no problem with the amount of stealth that this deck pumps out. It is hilarious. So, it has gotten to the point where I might even run Black Cat. Black Cat is good. It's not quite there. There's a few instances where this is worse than the paperclip basic stuff, but the main problem of which is the strength. But I also run Net Ready Eyes, so if I can get 3 to 4, that makes life amazing. So, now we're talking about how this works. Now let's talk about it in effect. I have Netmarker out. I have a Cloak out. If I make a run, I can draw a card. It is that real simple. It can be an empty run. I could run absolutely nothing. I can draw a card out of it by simply buffing Refractor. And when I buff Refractor, I can generally use it to draw a card. Sometimes you'll bank stealth credits, but after about 3, it's not like, why are you stacking so many? It's not super useful, etc. I like drawing cards. Drawing cards is powerful. So, from there, I run Temujin contracts because, as it turns out, Temujin likes to make lots of runs, specifically 5 runs that make you money. In my experimentation with the deck, I generally have a lockpick or 2, maybe a cloak. So let's just say we'll tone it down. I have a cloak and a lockpick. I install Temujin contracts on an empty server, generally archives. I make a run. Before I access, I pull off lockpick, buff Refractor. I spent the stealth credit. Netmarker says, when you spend a stealth credit, draw a card. So suddenly, my Temujin contract runs are now also drawing me cards. This is insane. And since I don't run Silencer, all the influence on Silencer money goes to Temujin, and now I have Temujin money. I also run Dirty Laundry over the classic daily casts. So, when we look at Dirty Laundry now, the fact that Dirty Laundry can now gain me money or draw me cards with this Netmarker is so incredibly good. So, there's a a lot of people, there's, where are you? Houdini. This apparently is broken. Let's see if I can get that image back. Nope, image is broken. But this is the new stealth code gate breaker, which some people are saying I'll run it over Refractor. I personally don't and wouldn't unless I'm like Rebirth into Kit or something. Then I would probably run it, but it's +4 strength, but it's 2 credits to buff. There's so many like strength 3 code gates moving around. Fair Lady 1.0, 2.0, Lotus Field, Magnet. There's a Aki. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's like you'd be spending extra money to break. But okay, let me pull up my deck and I'll show you how. And this is, I've been testing this, like I've been playing it. So right now there's 2 employee strikes. That's just basically free influence that I can move around. Right now it's just as a backup. Like I don't want to commit to Rumor Mill without a bunch of same old things. So I'm doing employee strike. But if you'll notice, I have a backup breaker for each thing. I have 1 Black Cat, 1 Inti. That's the Inti's the. Oh my gosh, they trashed my Black Cat. Let me play something. A lot of decks aren't running big barriers, and if they do, I'll just get Black Cat out. 1 Switchblade, 1 Dagger, and 2 Refractor. I'm not going to do Refractor and Houdini. Like I could, but I personally think Refractor is just all around way, way, way better. That's me. 3 Cloak, 3 Self-Mod. Pretty straightforward. The only other stealth is going to be this Lockpick here. 2 Ghost Runners for, that's the backup in case they're stacking sentries or something, and I need the Switchblade or Dagger to get in. And 3x Netmarker, because the faster you get Netmarker, the better your life is. You get something to trigger it, and suddenly everything runs smoothly. 3 Temujin contracts for money, 2 Beth, just because it's super good. 1 Plascrate, 1 Sports, 1 Dyson. So the Dyson, it was Akamatsu, but with all the Trace stuff going around, it is beneficial just to have a little bit more Link. And I will pay 2 credits for 1 Link, compared to the Akamatsu. To Astrolab, some people run Mirror, and then they don't have to run the extra memory to have the full rig, because it's going to be Black Cat, Sentry, Refractor, Cloak, Cloak, Cloak. So you need 6, no wait, hold on. Yeah, 6 memory. Astrolab gives me 1, Dyson gives me the 6th. Some people run Mirror. I don't run R&D repeatedly enough to get the benefit off Mirror. I can pull up Mirror real quick. Let me get rid of Davi, because although I will eventually try this card, it's not, like, maybe I'll try it with Smoke when it comes out, but right now there's no real point to it. So we will go, what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh man, I wish I could just look back. Mirror, that's it. There we go, not shipment for Mirror Launch. So, whenever you make a successful run on RT, you may replace one spent reoccurring credit, i.e. the Lockpick or the Cloak. The idea of this is then you can replenish your Stealth credit, so that way you can make repeated runs somewhere. So this isn't necessarily, like, if you keep running R&D, you keep getting the credit back, but on the other hand, why aren't you just running, like, any other server? Like, you're going to see the same cards, and you're green, so they're going to guard R&D. I highly doubt you have enough stealth credits to make free runs on R&D. If you do, hallelujah, play Mirror, laugh your butt off, and just continuously use the stealth credits on Netmarker and just go back and forth. I will eventually experiment with this card a little bit more, but I feel like this looks more of a run R&D, run another server. With the stealth credits right now, to keep banking, on Netmarker rather than pulling it off, you can't make too many runs. Like, you can make a lot. Uh, if you have 2 cloaks, a lockpick, like, I'm playing nice here. I'm not saying I have my full rig. I'm saying I have 2 cloaks and a lockpick, and the full stealth rig. You can get anywhere you want. There was a server with a strength 2 sentry. It was the trap that says if you encounter it, it triggers. Anyway, so it goes, spend a credit on cloak, get a netmarker, spend a netmarker, break it. Then I would go again and go, spend a credit on cloak, spend a credit on netmarker, go again. So there's the most tedious sentry I could I'm overspending on it with Switchblade, and I'm still making 2 free runs a turn on HQ with Temujin on it. Oh my gosh. So I could see where Mirror would be beneficial. This card is... Not this card, Netmarker. Netmarker is super good. Long story short, and there's so much you can use with it to make the stealth rig just so much more potent. The way to counter the netmarker is just to have lots of subroutines, simply because it doesn't matter how much stuff you have, unless they're running, like black cats. Like the dagger and the refractor. You still have to pay per subroutine. So things like Fair Lady or Fairchild 2.0 and stuff. All the yoggable DNA tracker. Like, it still cost me a little bit for DNA tracker, but the fact that you're spending 8 for it and I'm breaking it for like 3, so gross. Anyway, I just needed to talk about this card because it is 8 kinds of shenanigans, and I've been playing this deck. I've been playing this freaking deck a lot on Jinteki, and it just gets places. The one Net Ready Eyes helps you deal with like the strength 6 code gates, where you can just go, I'm gonna buff refractor. It's now, I spend 1 stealth credit, it's strength 6, I'm in. Or you do Switchblade with Kamainu, and you go, alright, Switchblade is now strength 1, break everything for free. Net Ready on Black Cat helps so much to fight Eli, because you get it to strength 4, you spend 1 stealth credit, you break Eli, you're in. I want to use data suckers and just go all out on memory on this deck. Like, I would probably drop Employee Strike, get 2 data suckers, and just add more memory, because you want to be able to adjust the strength of things just a little bit, and then I don't have to run Net Ready. So I just wanted to talk about, I've never built a stealth deck, and Netmarker just makes it so incredibly easy to make a stealth deck. So that was my 20-minute rant on Netmarker. I'll see you next time.